My man, my man, my man, my man. Let's go. Guys, it is time for another WCS Austin cast. It is the second group stage over here, and the matchup is between this guy up here in the top right-hand side in the red, representing Team Liquid. It is the creative genius himself, Dario. And down here in the bottom left-hand side in the blue, his opponent, Protoss powerhouse, Harstem. Flaming lips, as we call him, because he does indeed have not just moves like Mick Jagger, but also the lips like Mick Jagger. And Flaming Lips is actually his nickname. That's the translation from Chinese, what the Chinese fans call Harstem. I had the pleasure of casting this guy win the GPL championship over in China in 2016. He followed that up by winning Home Story Cup immediately afterwards, and I think those are Harstem's two major championships. He has struggled with consistently making it to say the round of 16 in WCS tournaments since then. There's been a lot of, obviously always in the round of 32, but sometimes struggles to get round of 16 and very rarely has made top 8 in the last year and a half. So he's one of these incredible players though who pulls out these amazing wins in Nation Wars. He still beats like the best players, but he just hasn't quite had that consistency. And I always draw a correlation, I think, between Harstem and Deer, because I know they're friends and they talk about strategy quite a bit, or at least they used to a few years ago. And they're kind of both very strategic players who are very good at technically knowing what to do in late game. They're very good at strategically knowing how to win certain situations, but they're just not quite as mechanically fine-tuned and consistent, I think, as some of these other guys who just seem to have this insane flow to the game, where, you know, I feel like the mechanical level in Legacy is just insanely high. It's higher than it's ever been before. We see games like that last series I just cast between Soul and Mana, where Soul is constantly in 2 or 3 places at once. We see guys like Serral all over the place, you know, people like Rogue, who, whilst being a strategic mastermind, it works so well because it's on a foundation of just insanely good mechanics. So yeah, I love Harstem. Like he knocked Sue out of IEM Katowice. Everyone was like, Sue's one of the guys who could win this tournament, and Sue didn't even make it out of the open bracket. He got knocked out by Harstem in the open bracket, and we were just like, oh shit, Harstem, you know. I think he was like defending all-ins against Sue mostly, but he also like did a nice all-in and wrecked him. Harstem's got a lot of strategic variety, and we're going to have to see how he plays here. It looks like it is indeed a Stargate opening. TLO knows that because he saw this was not upgrading. TLO now sees a second Adept pop out, and he is going to try and slide these Zergling in just to check exactly what's going on. Queen starts to attack the Adept at the front, sees the Stargate finish, and he does even see the Phoenix start up. So it's going to be Phoenix first, very common. And this is why at high levels of play, you'll notice only one Overlord from TLO on this side of the map. Against both Terran and Protoss, Zerg players at the highest levels are usually only sending one Overlord across the map. They're using their Zergling scouting, as well as very fine-tuned tells like, hey, is the Cybercore upgrading or not, to tell what they're up against. Great drone pull there! Immediately jumps on those Adepts. I thought they'd slide into this gap in the minerals, and I think TLO was worried about them sliding there or there as well. So only 3 workers going down for 2 Adepts, not a bad kill. As I was saying, everyone's going Phoenix or Viking. And basically Zergs are saying, you know what, let's give that as few kills as possible. Let's make it so this is not a great investment for the opponent. And just keep the Overlords at home. Notice they're all pulling back to the hatcheries. We've already got Spores on the way. I actually kind of feel like pro players invest in Spores way too early when they see a Phoenix first. I actually am a big fan of people delaying the Spores as long as possible. I feel like Spores going down at 350, if you've seen Phoenix first, is like totally fine. Because that means they would be finished now, 4 minutes 11. And check it out, even the Oracle came straight across the map. It would only be there, and you know, your Spore only needs to finish as the Oracle gets to the mineral line. It's like this really small thing, but something where I think if you know the Stargate's in the main, you know it's Phoenix first, and he got the confirmation with the Ling and then it coming down. I think you can press that a little bit further, and I think one thing you will sometimes see a more wild Zerg player like True do is just not build Spores at all, or build them incredibly late. TLO here, on the other hand, though, playing the safest anti-Phoenix Oracle opening I've ever seen. He's already got 5 Queens and Spores up in each base. Hot damn! Hot damn, Dario, not taking any chances. Harstem did take a little bit of damage there on those units. Looked like a bit of a lag issue, a slight pause happened. Zergling's going to come in, going to make sure this third does not go down for free. They snipe down the probe, and they're, of course, probably going to rotate around and force the Oracle to stay on the defense for the moment. As if more Zerglings arrived, these Zealots and Adepts could just get surrounded, and the third could go down, so the Oracle has to sit at home. It has just been one Oracle, though, not two, and now 2 Stargate Phoenix behind this. TLO doesn't know about that, but this definitely did become the meta for a little while after Zest started doing it in GSL. So I think that's part of why we're seeing, 5 queens so early, spores in all the bases. This spore even moving forwards onto a bit of an angle to kind of, I guess, engage them as they come in. But the problem for Dario right now is he doesn't have that scouting. And I almost would love to see an Overseer or Zerglings or something, because if he spotted these Phoenix ahead of time, he could be much more prepared. As it is, it's going to be 6 Phoenix rocking up on his base. And if they can get a few Queen kills, that's going to be big. Does he spot it? He sees it coming. Queens get to safety. They've got to stay there. Yeah, they stay next to the spore. Harstem's going to have to back off. Rotates around, finds 2 Queens in the open. And that's a nice pick off there. Is Dario going to bring more Queens to defend? No. He could have run up and transfused, but he probably would have lost every single Queen if he did that. So instead he says, look, acceptable losses. 2 Queens go down. He's pulled all the drones off those gases. He's trying to build Zerglings right now. He's already got 9 Roaches out, and he's actually sending them across the map. Ooh, Dario. This is, it's going to pull the Phoenix home. But I don't know, if there's enough units to defend, that's going to be fine. Harstem is already chrono boosting the Immortal. If he can get an Immortal out, he's got a shield battery, he's got Zealots, a Sentry. All he needs to do is just defend the third base, and if he keeps that alive, this has not been a great investment for TLO. TLO's droning behind it, going to Hydras. He's trying to break down the natural wall. I like that move. He knows the third is where most of the units are going to be focused, forces more defense on the natural, and now commits to the third. But I think Dario is very quickly realizing, okay, this is fizzling out. He's going to try and engage. The shield battery does heal that Sentry for a long time, but eventually goes down. Dario going to back off with those Zerglings. But all things considered, check out the units lost tab. It tells the story. 2,000 lost for Zerg, only 800 lost for Protoss. This is not too bad for TLO because he's got great creep spread. He's got the anti-air up. No, he's putting 3 spores per base. Oh my god, he's taking no chances. Yeah, I wouldn't mind another one in the main, actually. This queen's a bit exposed. But yeah, going 3 spores per base, having 3 bases up, fully saturated, a 4th on the way. TLO has got a big economy up. So even though he's been inefficient, remember, Phoenix has become worse over time because they're just not good in big fights. They're not good at fighting masses of Hydras. They're not good at fighting masses of Infestors, Corruptors. There's a lot of units that just do well versus Phoenixes, but that is why they've got to get the damage done early. And we saw them come in there and pick off a ton of work as Zergling's looking for more damage, still unable to find it. And we can see the supply count as Immortals continue to come out, charge on the way. Templar Archives is now going down, as well as the Gateway count blossoming for Harstem. Dario desperate to get a 4th base up and saturated, but I think the main is still very undersaturated right now. And Dario, yeah, he's actually not mining all of his gases right now as well. So I think he doesn't really have the Hydras up to contest the Phoenixes yet, and yet he's out in the open. Oh no, Dario, these Hydras, the spores aren't finished yet. This is an opportunity. Is Harstem going to go for it? Oh, I guess there was Hydras popping. The spores were about to pop. Probably a good call from Harstem to back off, but that was very close to being an opportunity to just cut down the Hydralisk count early. And whenever you can do that, that's amazing. Hydras do have, of course, the movement speed upgrade already. They've got the range upgrade now in the way. We've got Baneling speed and melee and range upgrade. So it's going to be Hydra Bane for TLO. He's thinking about launching an attack on this base. He's trying to morph some Banelings, but he's very low on gas right now. As I mentioned, he's trying to take gas on his 4th. He hasn't realized he's not mining gas on his natural properly. That's a big mistake. Ooh, he's going to get a snipe on the 4th, but he's got to get these Hydras out of here. There's no Banelings to protect this. He cannot engage this army, especially if the Phoenixes join up with this. That's going to suck. Nice little turnaround. Does kill a few cells, but you got to get out of there. Dario, your reinforce is weak. Get out of there. The Phoenix coming back is going to be a big threat. High Templar in the open. Got to be careful, Harstem. Can't lose those. And if he can get that 4th base back up, that's going to be nice. Harstem, of course, wants to stabilize, usually on about 80, 85 probes, 4 bases. He loves that big economy. I used to be really critical of him for it. I used to say, a lot of the time you die to timing attacks. A lot of these probes aren't really helping you. Wouldn't you prefer more cannons? He says, you know what? The problem is if you sit on just 55, 60, 65 probes, you're kind of really like on the lower end. A single Baneling drop or something gets in, a single Ling run by, you lose 10 workers, and suddenly your economy's just down in the gutter and it's shit. Whereas if you're at 80 probes, you lose 10 probes, you've still got 70, you can replace it very quickly, it doesn't impact you as badly. Holy shit, some good storms there, but some great Baneling hits, all the Zealots are gone. One more storm comes out at the crucial moment. Warp Prism does fall, but the Phoenix is going to come in and rout this army. Harstem on the warpath here, he's going to chase TLO back. TLO comes back to the spores where the Phoenix can't help out. He's going to hang on for now, but the problem is that Harstem can just rebuild that same army. Now, Harstem is building High Templar. That's important. You've got to get more storm energy up. There we are at the third base. Zealot counterattacked at the natural. A few Zealots went over there. Still, massive units lost advantage to Harstem. He's still got a few Phoenixes alive. Doesn't want to throw those away just yet. Not a lot of storms here. Harstem's immortal count also not that high. Only 1 Archon and 5 immortals. There we go. Storms are not quite ready yet. A few more energy required, but there's just not enough Zerg. TLO thought he could try to jump on an opportunity. His win condition clearly seems to involve shutting down the 4th base. He's not willing to sit there and let that 4th exist for more than a minute or so. So he goes for the attack. It doesn't pay off. TLO is just going to have to accept that. He'll probably go into some sort of desperate follow-up plan now, but realistically, it's game over. Your opponent's on superior tech. He's kept the important tech units alive, the Immortals and Archons. Of course, the High Templar will be replaced. There we go, finally. A little bit slow on these High Templars being replaced after the fights from Harstem. That's why he didn't have Storm at the start of that battle. But there's carriers on the way now as well. So Harstem's just sealing the deal in the calmest way possible. Harstem hates attacking onto creep unless it's a really big kind of pre-planned all-in attack. He likes to just tech up to carriers and finish the game with Sky Toss. So he's going to give Dario time to rebuild an army. But the thing is, Dario is worried about an attack right now. He's got to build units. Realistically, though, he's down on income. He's down on tech. And as air upgrades come in, we're going to just see a better army for Harstem. So I think Harstem's in the comfort zone. Definitely TLO, maybe Baneling drops, maybe counterattacks. He's got, Dropper Lords going, +2 melee on the way. It's a chance. He's got +2 range. There's always an opportunity if you get the really good Hydra Bane engage. It's not over, There's always room for you to micro. If you can get some creep down this path, that would be really big as well. The more creep, the more chance of that magic engage happening. If he can get the Banelings onto the High Templar. If the High Templar aren't there, the Protoss army is kind of average. But as long as that's there, it's going to cause problems. And notice how there's not a lot of vision on the edge of the map. There's no Overlords over there because of the early Phoenix commitment. That Warp Prism's going to find its way into TLO's main. TLO, though, is coming in. He's killing a few cannons. This is not terrible. It's not great because his economy is not great, but it's kind of, diminishing this defense. It might be open for a follow-up attack if Harstem doesn't replace it quick enough. Harstem is trying to take a 5th on the south side. You can see Dario's splitting his army up. Let's bring those control groups up. He's got queens, all of his queens on a hotkey, and Zealots in the main base. Nice Zealot warp in. Harstem just kind of buying time here, trading out these Zealots. Not the most efficient directly, but he's going to lose the Prism. That sucks. That was a really nice piece of threat he had up in this corner of the map. This is just buying time, keeping the Zerg back. He's making carriers. He's got +2 ship weapons being chrono boosted. The 5th base is up. A few more cannons and batteries there to cement the position will make it completely unassailable. And check it out, he doesn't even keep building Immortals. He's just so confident after he held off those early attacks. He's like, nah, just save the supply for carriers. Like, Harstem's not in a rush to max out. He's just like, no, I'm going to make the perfect army. I don't want to make the wrong units. I just want to make the perfect units. And that's what he's going to do here. TLO has got a big spread. He's trying to come in from all sides, but good storms on the north, good storms all over the Hydras. Carriers come in at the same time. Banelings here are going to find a wall of Immortals and Archons. There's still a few storms in the back. The carriers have lost most of their interceptors, but a lot of the Zerg army has crumbled as well. These Phoenixes can, of course, add their lifts in the tail end of the fight as well. Dario unable to break Harstem, taps out, GG, and Harstem takes a very good Game 1 victory. The 9 Roach Zergling attack there against the 2 Stargate Phoenix, you know, it's tempting to do something like this to keep the Phoenix away from your base. But strategically, it was the wrong call by TLO. And that's a very simple reason for that. It's you've invested in 3 Spore Crawlers a base and a good queen count. You've invested in a ton of anti-air to do a sort of half-assed attack, which only really achieves pulling the Phoenix away from your base. It's like, that attack makes sense if you're skimping on your anti-air and you're pushing your economy harder behind it. You're jumping up the tech tree, right? You're saying, let's just keep the Phoenix away from my drones. And it kind of makes sense. But he's invested so much in anti-air specifically to stop the Phoenix harassment. And then to do a half-assed attack like that, all of that lava should have just been drones instead. If that was all drones, droning up a 4th, you know, maybe even getting a few more spores connecting his bases to really limit the Phoenix, that would have been awesome. But definitely didn't pay off at all. Dario, I think, got caught a little bit in between 2 mines. Said, oh, maybe this is a good idea. The Phoenix shut down all the roaches, and the ground units shut down everything on the floor. So Harstem takes game number 1. Let's hop into game number 2, guys. It is a WCS Austin cast here. Group stage number 2. Down here in the bottom right-hand side in the red, he is Liquid TLO. Up in the top left-hand side, it's Harstem. It's been the year of Harstem since 2014, for you guys who didn't know. Maybe it was 2013, actually, was the first year of Harstem. Bit of a meme. When he first started showing a lot of promise as a pro, people got a bit excited. They said, it's the year of Harstem. He's going to do it this year. And then we were saying that for a few years before he did win a championship, but he did get there. It's the life of Harstem at this point, indeed. He's one of the most characterful pro gamers. One of my favorites whenever he's up there for an interview, whenever he's getting some banter going on a talk show, talking about how clowns belong in the circus, is his most recent quotable line. Harstem's a bit of the flavor we need some more of, I think, in the pro scene. Ninjude, thank you so much for the 2-month resub. Just came back to your stream after I left when you mentioned the Pylon show was on. Thanks for making good analytical content. Thanks, Ninjude. Appreciate it. Good stuff. So, in terms of how important this match was, I know there's people asking about that. Let me talk about it. It was the second match in Group Stage 2, Group B. Harstem had 2-0'd Probe in his first match. TLO 2-0'd Cham. This was the winner's match once again. Winner goes through to Group Stage 3. Loser, of course, has to play against Cham or Probe, whichever one makes it through to the final match. So definitely, you know, a good match. Whoever wins this will go through. Harstem 1 game away from getting past Dario, the creative Zerg. And pretty clean game 1 for Harstem, wasn't it? It was like, yeah, first Oracle and Phoenix did nothing. No worries. 2 Stargate Phoenix, and then just dictated the action from that point. Some very nice storms and nice micro in the engagements was crucial. I always feel like Harstem tries to take these engagements in a very perfect manner, and sometimes doesn't really like overcommit to things like Immortals or Archons that make your engagements a lot easier. So against players who are mechanically just insanely good and they manage to kind of pull him apart, sometimes I do see him fall apart in those engages. And I'm like, man, why don't you just keep building Immortals or add some more Archons, you know? Make your life easier for yourself. But then when he pulls it off the way he wants to pull it off, I'm just like, well, that's just a perfect game. Like, Harstem can be exceptionally clinical when he is in control of the game. And that's what we saw in game 1 there. Dario is TLO's name. Yeah, Kevin is Harstem's name. Sorry if I sometimes just call them by their first names as well. I have known these guys for years, used to practice with them, competed with and against them. Harstem was one of my original practice partners back in kind of 2013, when I could get him to agree to practice with lag on the NA server. Few of these guys were not many were willing to practice with me back in the day of the EU pros, so the NA guys were usually my my favorite practice partners, but Harstem would hop over and school me every now and then. So, Spore Crawl is going down exceptionally early here. Did he spot that it was an Oracle? He did, right? So his Zergling gets in, spots that it's an Oracle, and this time he goes for much faster Spore Crawlers because he knows it's not Phoenix first. 3 Queens already down, a 4th one on the way. Yeah, 2 Creep Tumors already out as well. Whew. taking no chances against this Stargate play. Spores finish as the Oracle's about halfway across the map. And this time it is going to be a second Oracle into a Robo. So usually we're going to see a Twilight following up that Robo, and it usually indicates an Archon drop and potentially maybe some 6-gate charge that Archon pressure. Occasionally an 8-gate, big commitment, but usually it's just into a third base, and there's like a bit of the gap in probe production when they commit to the Archon drop. Warp in a round of Zealots or two. Sometimes, occasionally, if you see a second Prism, that's when you know they're going to go ham with it. But with the double Oracle, it's not the fastest. Like, it takes a while before the Archons get out there. So in this scenario, the Archons are as much a defensive tool as they are aggressive. They're not something which necessarily just kind of automatically has to do damage. It's more about the Oracles. And still no Phoenix. That's really weird. This is a bit of a variation, guys. Sorry, Oracles dive in. They grab one Queen. How many drones have they killed so far? 3. So 3 drone kills and a Queen. It's not bad. Not bad at all from Harstem. And he's moving out for a faster third than you'd normally see. He's going up to 4 gates and a Warp Prism. There are a few Zergs around. If they could snipe that, that would be huge. But no, Harstem gets the base down. Mineral walks that probe away. The Zealots and Adept will keep it safe. And a very quick Forge. Okay, cool. Oracles come in. Tag a drone. Queens say, get out. And the Oracles do get heavily bruised. Creep spread looks insanely good for Dario. It's not like he's constantly spreading new tumors. It's just these 3 tumors from earlier on. And there we go. Harstem catches the one through the middle. Probably the most important one. Archon's warping in at 5 minutes 30 off the back of 2 Oracles. Yeah. And this is what you get for skipping the Phoenix, right? He said, look, the Phoenix normally only gets 1 Overlord. Let's not even bother with it. But look at this. Oh, God. We've got Queens coming across the map, guys. Overlord's dropping down creep. Harstem seeing this, he's got to know. He knows what he's up against. He sees not that many drones on the third, and immediately he knows that there's going to be a big attack coming across the map. But look at this, Queens out in the open on their own. This is a faster Archon drop than you'd expect against a 2 Oracle opening. Normally 2 Oracles and a Phoenix. The Archon drop is about 30 seconds after this. TLO's Queens get caught out in the open. The Roaches aren't ready yet. They've only just popped out. The Highway gets destroyed. Oh, Harstem says, hey, free kills, thanks, buddy. Shuts those down. Still got the Oracles out there to watch for a continued Roach assault. And it is continued Roach production here from Dario, but I'd actually like to see him swap straight back into drones and drop a 4th base right now. He's on 5 gases. He's on 3 bases, but he's just non-stop building Roaches. And actually, he's going Overlord speed, so he's committing to this Overlord Highway. I don't know. I feel like maybe a little bit too focused on this move. What have we got? 1? Oh, only 1 Immortal? All right, second Immortal's just starting. Maybe this can work. Yeah. This is a big ramp on this map, guys. You get into this big open area. Roaches and Ravagers are very powerful units. That's a Dropper-Lord as well, by the way. Not sure what that's meant to achieve necessarily. He's going to try and drop Roaches. He does a hot pickup and drops his Roaches behind the force field. TLO, you friggin' sick mastermind. What the hell? Who does that? Only Dario, the most creative of Zerg players. He's going to come in here. This is a very scary push. There's a stasis trap going down. He's got to be wary of that stasis trap. I'd like to see a corrosive bile to take it down personally. Cannot afford to get his Roaches and Ravagers trapped by that. The Roaches and Ravagers are going to push forward towards the natural. They're going to start taking down those units, but there's an Immortal and a few sentries back there. He's lured him into the open, though. These units coming forward, that stasis trap is going to save the day. I can sense it. It's going to trap a big clump of Roaches. But, uh-oh, that Immortal almost goes down. Harstem picks it up with the Warp Prism and actually drops it behind the wall over there on the far left-hand side of your screen. That's what he does. The Cyber Core goes down, the wall's down, there's creep spreading here. There's Overlord spreading creep like crazy. Not only does that also stops the sentries and Archons. When you A-move them, they're going to waste attacks on those Overlords. Charge is about to finish, though. The sandwich comes in. The Protoss units jumping in from both sides. Is there enough Protoss to make it happen? Another hot pickup on one of these damaged Immortals. These 3 Immortals are still alive. Dario is going to be so frustrated by this. Finally, 1 Immortal falls on the right. These Immortals, I was going to say they just won't die. 1 of them finally dies. 2 of them deep in the red and orange. There's a stasis trap. You've got to watch out. Oh, 1 Immortal falls. There's another stasis there, 1 there. But TLO doing such a good job of just maintaining this position in the middle. He's trying to morph more Ravagers. He is down in income, remember. He's building more Queens, more Roaches. I think he's actually maybe missed some injects back home. I don't know. Maybe he's just going to bring more Queens across the map. Stasis trap gets set off on a Zergling. We've got a few High Templar in the open. Archon morph will be good, but oh, we actually corrosive biled the pylon? There we go. Does Corrosive Bile the Archon as well. The attack seems to be held for now, guys. Cannons and shield batteries on the third. Yeah, there's not a lot of units, but the static D is good. As Harstem, you're really wanting a bit of anti-air right now, and as TLO, you've got to be wondering, how much longer can you leave these here before these overlords do get sniped? There are drones on the way behind this. Hydratech, +2. Fourth base, though, only just starting, so this is not a smooth economic transition. Dario TLO still has a big army. Ooh, almost gets it. Almost gets it. Harstem dodges at the last second. And there we go, yeah, Void Ray. Void Ray is going to shut this down for now, but a couple of queens are making their way across. We're still at just 4 immortals right now, with 11 zealots supporting them and 1 Archon. Queens are finally here, though. These overlords are going to start to take some damage. And the wave continues. TLO's got a gigantic army here, but it's mostly Roaches and Ravagers. The supply lead looks good until you remember that these are terrible, terrible units, Roaches and Ravagers. Immortals and Charge-Lots are splendid at taking these sorts of units down. The Corrosive Biles are not finding their marks. One finally activates this shield on a Prism, but the Zealots haven't even all gone down yet. Most of the Roaches and Ravagers are cleared. The Queens have gone down. Hydra's rallying over to reinforce and meet this. TLO's all-in attacks not finding their mark in this series. He's not able to break him. Harstem solid as a rock. And even though he's got creep in between his natural and his third, he's up on 70 probes. He's starting a +2 upgrade. That shows how comfortable he is. His immortal count is still solid at 5. He's got more Archons morphing in over here at the third. And the Oracle's still alive. That provides the vision. Harstem's taking a 4th base. And he just needs to be in position. Not let TLO catch him off guard. Zealot drop. Gonna move down and drop into the main base. An Observer is now out as well, so Harstem will be able to clear up that creep when he feels like it. Get rid of these creep tumors in between his bases. Finally! Gets rid of that. That just makes you feel good as a Protoss player. Getting rid of this sort of thing, it's like that moment when you slowly like pick at a scab and it just is ready and it just kind of falls off like a big juicy scab. You guys know what I'm talking about. That moment when not when a pimple pops, no, when a scab comes off. It's the happy, satisfying type, not the kind of horrified, what the hell was that type. 5 Dropper Lords coming in. It's going to be drops for TLO. He's going to try and outposition him, but his economy kind of sucks. Yeah, TLO's got a 4th that looks healthy, but that's just because the main's half gone. The naturals had workers transitioned out of it. He's only at 67 workers total, so Dario can still make this happen. He's got a Lurker Den on the way. It's almost finished. It's really tough. This is such a good army for killing what he has got. His army's pulled home. His Overlords are caught out in the open. Dario, get out of there. Oh, God. Oh, my God. This is going to be huge. He's losing so many Overlords. He's going to get supply blocked here. Dario not reacting right now. What is he focusing on? Zealots in the main. Sorry, guys. I've been streaming for a long time. Zealots just came in from 2 sides. And Dario was splitting into both. I'm like, how is he not pulling this back? Turns out you suck at watching your mini-map, pig. 8 workers did go down there, so a bunch of drones dying. The distraction also causing Dario to not watch. He's just lost about 10, 12 overlords. Is epically supply blocked, and that's going to trigger him running across the map. He's got lurkers up now, but a revelation and an observer and a flank immediately from behind. Units coming in from both sides. The juicy storms land in the middle of that Zerg army. And the infestation has been cleared. Harstem doing his best impression. Oh shit, has it? What the fuck? Where'd all these guys come from? This is like so random. There's like random, it's like the Protoss wave came from behind, but then there was more Roach Ravager Hydra that flanked that off screen. I'll show you this engagement again after the replay. Apparently I had the replay time marker on up there. Sorry about that, guys. Looks like this game will go on. I thought this game was about to end for sure there, but turns out TLO actually got a pretty good fight. And it took a pretty good one. That was a pretty good spot. I didn't even realize that was there the whole time. I'm sure like 80% of the audience is spoiled about how long this game goes now, though. So good job me for leaving that one on. Gold base is up as well. Okay, yeah, get them out of that. I'm like, this is just silly, Dario. Pull your overlords home, mate. Put it back in your pants. Zip up. And stop exposing your overlords in public. Lurkers are on the way. We've got 2 lurkers on the way. Yeah, there's not enough gas. TLO's very gas starved right now. If he could make a big round of lurkers, that'd be great, but hasn't put back on this gas after the Zealot harass. He just put back on this gas here. This gas still in there too. Oh no. That really sucks. That's a big pain in the ass. You know, at this stage, after you reset the army of Harstem, you can see he doesn't have many immortals left. He lost all of his valuable units. He's only got a few storms ready here. Actually, he's only got like one storm ready in that army. Harstem lost all of his valuable units. Lurkers are going to be great against an army that doesn't have a lot of immortals, doesn't have a lot of storms in it. Archons and Zealots are not great versus Lurkers, but as it is, there's only 2 Lurkers here. Ooh, nice storm. Does get a good hit. These Roaches, Ravagers, and Hydras are slowly breaking through the cannons, but the cannons are killing quite a few units. This is not for free. The shield battery healing them. And finally, he does run forward there and just breaks through. There's not enough Hydras to guard against it. But TLO looks like he's going to rotate around the left-hand side. There's only 1 cannon and battery over there, and we'll see how we go. This guy named his account just for me, didn't he? Oh my god. Oh my god, you named this account just for me. My amusement, didn't you? I learnt what a grundle was like 2 weeks ago on stream. Or was it last week? I don't know. Sometime recently on stream, I learnt what a grundle was. My Twitch chat taught me. This guy clearly was hanging out and enjoying that and has decided to go and name his account Grundle. Fantastic. We call the Grundle a gooch, usually in Australia. Maybe the taint. I know you guys use taint in America as well. And let's just say Dario is trying to find a position to tickle Harstem's Grundle right now, because going through the front is not going to work against this Protoss beast of an army. There's too much storm, too many immortals, so he's splitting up. He's trying to siege 2 sides, but he's eating a few too many storms here. And at the same time, yeah, he gets collapsed on the left. Dario, run! You got to get out of there. Oh no, he accidentally clicks the wrong way. Half of his units path into the Protoss army. At the same time, Harstem's going to try to jump on this southern army. He will lose his tech units for it, but he clears most of the Zerg. Dario tries to do a fighting retreat on the left-hand side, takes out 1 or 2 Protoss units, but in the end loses an entire Zerg army. Looks like, oh, he's managed to break through into the economy. This could be what he needed, but the recall is going to shut these Hydras down. Not before there's quite a few probes killed, though. So down to just 56 probes. And this gold base still going is really keeping Dario in this game. TLO, I think, would have been down and out a long time ago if it wasn't for that base. He's still only got 2 guys there. He's finally put guys back on this gas. He's adding a Baneling nest now. He's realizing Zealots are causing him problems, so he's like, shit, man, maybe just getting Banelings in the mix is actually going to help against these Zealots. Because whenever you split your army as Zerg, it always seems like a good idea, and then the Protoss just like jumps on one side with a bunch of Charge Lord Immortal, and you're like, oh, if I had some Banelings here, this would stop him cleaning it up so easily. So I think TLO's trying to add a bit more complexity to his army, and if he sees too many Zealots, he's going to go into Banelings. But look at the Archon count. Banelings is going to do nothing against Archons. Nothing against that much Psystorm. That is 8 High Templar, my friends. 7 High Templar across this army. He does need to leave a High Templar over here. There we go, warping one in. A few Zergans cleaning up the left. We've got Ling, Hydra, Roach on the right. A few Lurkers as well. A Hive's on the way. A melee upgrade. I kind of actually feel like TLO's best chance is just mass Lurkers right now. Keep on attacking on 2 sides like he is, but I feel like his gas really needs to go into Lurker tech. If he invests in a lot of Hydra Bane here, I don't think that's the way to win this game. Fortunately for him, Archons are short range, so Lurkers and Hydras can both do pretty well versus it. Oh, the Zealot tries to kill the Queen, not quite able to take her down. And Baneling speed's on the way. Yeah, that's not the upgrade you need. Broodlords actually could make it happen as well, just because Harstem's economy has not been that big this game. Uh-oh. The problem here is, of course, getting caught out of position. You know, your army's in so many fragments as the Zerg. You've got to be very careful. This is a small army from Harstem, though. So, you know, if TLO was able to collapse around the left-hand side and the right on that at the same time, maybe he could get on top of it and just kill the High Templar before the deadly storms land. A few Lurkers out on their own, they're going to go down. I don't think this is a wise decision by TLO to be leaving Lurkers out in the open. Nice transfuses. He's going to save those. He's going to rotate his army back. This gold base will go down. This gold base is almost mined out. TLO can get rid of this frontal expansion and slow down the 5th. That's going to be really nice. The income of Harstem is still behind. His working count's behind, but it's his army that's the problem. 130 army supply versus 130 army supply. Slow Banelings. Oh, no. Oh, actually, they get great hits versus the Charge Zealots. Wow, and he dodges the storms. I mean, Dario's army is so fragile right now. This is a paper Zerg army. It's a glass cannon. Lots of damage output, very few hit points, especially a lot of weakness to this splash damage. But look at the spreads. Dr. Dario avoiding most of those storms, but nonetheless, the Archons and the Immortals crash through. The Lurkers are gone. He's got to retreat for now. He's got a few more Hydras on the left-hand side. If he can split this army up, then maybe he can take it. Down here in the bottom is where he could split some units. Oh, he missed it. 2 Immortals and Archons do escape what could have been a bad situation for them. There we go. Dario is starting to rotate. He's just going to maybe... Yeah, he's got to split the army. There we go. That's what you want to do. You want to spread this Protoss army out. You want to try and expose those High Templar. Bane Speed is now done. Banelings, maybe, if they found their mark, would be a good choice there. But look at this. Gets a Nexus, but loses all of his Hydras. They're so fragile. Ah, that's painful. And I think after that, it's all Ogre. I think Harstem finally has this one in the bag. Yeah, we've got Adaptive Talons, the Lurker upgrade. So I guess Dario was kind of on the same page as me, saying, you know what, I think just going mass Lurker is going to get it done. But it's a little bit too late. Not enough economy. He's lost the gold now. And yeah, if Harstem just keeps eliminating expansions, that's his goal, right? He's eliminated both gold bases. He's just found this base. He's probably going to just move up that direction and clear that. Deny this base. Deny this base. Yeah, Harstem's just playing a very patient game here. So he's made sentries. That's super random. That is like the most random thing. That's got to be a hotkey mistake, right? There's no way you want to make 4 sentries in late game, surely. Maybe he actually uses them just to force field Banelings away from the High Templar when he swaps into an air army? I don't know. That seems a little bit silly. That seems a bit insane. I mean, obviously it works as long as there's no ultras to break their force fields, but it just seems very, very APM intensive and easy to screw up in the heat of battle. Looks like a nice corrosive bile there. TLO making the most of this little choke point. The drone even takes a few hits to try and buy time. Oh, trying to get a Lurker drop going. The drop goes down. Lurker's out in the open. And oh, Lurkers get shot down. Hydra falls. More Lurkers running through the middle of the map. He's trying to kind of outposition him, but I think there's just a little bit too much Protoss. Look at this tiny little Hydra Baneling Queen force trying to defend the Lurkers. I mean, transfuses will be nice, but yeah, look, Cloak is there. He's got an Overseer. He can see the army coming forward. He's got some good Lurker splash going down, but the whole army just disappears. Harstem has too much. And despite TLO getting that good fight on the 4th base and clearing all the tech units, resetting everything, and then fighting a very strong, scrappy game from there, was just not able to find the correct avenue. Maybe going for those drops a little bit earlier, hitting the mineral lines. You know, he needed to find a way to hit Harstem's economy and force Harstem to attack right on into him. Let's actually very quickly rewind. I wanted to go to that fight on his 4th, which I think was 12 minutes. Yeah, so Harstem goes for this 4th. And there was this really funny moment where it was like, well, TLO's behind, his attack didn't break him. Harstem's got like Storm and everything. Actually, no, he didn't have Storm yet at this point. And then, yeah, TLO was trying to like drop and stuff, but like, yeah, this was actually such a crucial moment where he had all those Overlords in the middle. And then we saw this happen. It was just 2 Zealots on the left base, but there was nothing there to defend, and a big Zealot warping in the main. And TLO lost all these Overlords. Oh my god. And then he follows it up by getting an amazing fight and getting back in the game. That's what was so fucking bizarre. So he's like, oh fuck, man, I screwed it. Go, go, go. Goes in. He gets the High Templar there. Storm's like 1 second from finishing. Gets the Lurkers morph, but then check this out. I remember I was watching here, so my observing sucked, guys. And I was like, oh, but it doesn't matter because look, the observer's here. He's got Revelation. He's coming in with some units from the north, and he's like flanking it, so he's getting a surround, which is perfect against Lurkers. What I didn't realize is there's this big pack of Roach Hydra that flanked the flank. So even though this looked really good at the start of this little flank, like starting to clear through, Zealots warping in on top of the Lurkers, but then suddenly all the Immortals went down. They just got sandwiched, and it was like, oh shit, this is actually kind of nasty. You know, what's he got, like a Void Ray and a couple of Immortals and a random Archon? But Harstem does defend the base, and that was the important thing here. He hangs on, he loses a bunch of probes, but he survives with the Nexus intact. And yeah, And I think from here, if Dario started maybe dropping around the left-hand side, you know, a single Phoenix isn't going to kill your Dropper Lord before you get in. Maybe drop around the right. The thing is, Harstem was very well prepared. The natural was the only undefended mineral iron. Everything else had cannons or shield batteries or both. GG, well played by both players though. Sick series, and that is the 2-0 victory for Harstem. GG, well played. What about Vipers, says Voltrex. I mean,